Hi everyone, and welcome to Law Archives Revision, your go-to channel for AQA Law exam preparation. Today we're looking at statutory interpretation, what it is, why it matters, and how courts decide what legislation really means. Let's get into it. What is statutory interpretation? Statutory interpretation is the process judges use to work out the meaning of words or phrases in Acts of Parliament. Whether someone is guilty of an offence often depends on how the court interprets the wording of the statute. Parliament's language isn't always clear, so judges must decide exactly what the law requires in each case. This can completely change whether someone is liable. Rules and approaches to interpretation. Judges use several rules when interpreting statutes. The four key ones are the literal rule, the golden rule, the mischief rule, and the purposive approach. Each can lead to different interpretations depending on how strict or flexible the judge is. Literal rule. The literal rule means giving words their plain, ordinary dictionary meaning, even if the outcome seems strange or unfair. A key case is Whiteley v. Chappell, 1868. The defendant impersonated a dead person to vote. The law stated it was an offence to impersonate any person entitled to vote. Because a dead person is not literally entitled to vote, the court found him not guilty. This shows how a strict literal meaning can lead to unexpected results. Golden rule. The golden rule modifies the literal rule. Judges begin with the ordinary meaning of words, but can adjust that meaning if applying it literally would produce an absurd or unjust result. In Adler v. of George, 1964, the law made it an offence to be in the vicinity of a prohibited place. The defendant was actually inside the prohibited place. A purely literal interpretation would have created a loophole. The court held that in the vicinity of should include being inside to avoid an absurd outcome. Mischief rule. The mischief rule asks judges to identify the mischief, the problem that Parliament intended to fix, and interpret the statute to address that issue. In Smith v. Hughes, 1960, prostitutes were banned from soliciting on the street. Some were soliciting from windows and balconies instead. The court held this still fell under the Act because Parliament's purpose was to prevent harassment of the public. A narrow interpretation would have allowed the mischief to continue. Purposive approach. The purposive approach focuses on the wider purpose or intention behind the Act. Judges interpret language in a way that best achieves Parliament's aims, especially when words are ambiguous. This approach is often used in modern law and in areas influenced by EU and human rights legislation, where the emphasis is on fulfilling the purpose behind the law rather than sticking strictly to literal wording. Aids to interpretation. Judges also use additional tools called aids to interpretation. Intrinsic aids are found within the Act itself, such as the long title, preamble, definition section, schedules, and internal structure. These can help clarify what Parliament meant when drafting the law. Extrinsic aids come from outside the Act, including Hansard, parliamentary debates, dictionaries, previous case law, or related statutes. These aids help when wording is ambiguous or unclear. Overall application. Courts consider all these rules and aids when interpreting legislation. Different approaches can lead to different outcomes, and judges often choose the method that best reflects Parliament's intention, avoids absurdity, and addresses the problem the law was designed to fix. Understanding how these rules work and how courts use them in real cases is essential for answering AQA problem questions effectively. Statutory interpretation is a core part of how courts apply legislation. The literal, golden, mischief, and purposive approaches each provide different ways of interpreting unclear wording, and aids to interpretation help judges make sense of legislation when it's ambiguous. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to Law Archives Revision, and comment below with what topic you'd like to revise next. Good luck with your exams.